Hello and welcome to All for United WFC. We are back on a Friday night special. Don't worry, it's not Monday. The weekend hasn't disappeared and flown you by. No, indeed, it is Friday. We had a cracking day on Wednesday with, would you believe it, a win against Arsenal. They've not scored against us in 3 games. It's the champions of Europe, by the way. Not a single goal has passed through our net. And we are now, for the first time ever, in the Sandwich Cup final, which is absolutely amazing. So there we go. Who knew? Excellent stuff. We've got ourselves an excellent panel to have ourselves a little chat all about the, I would like to say the myriad of big moments, but really there was just a handful that we shall go through. But let's just run around and make sure everybody's okay. Beth, lovely to have you back on the channel. How are you getting on?
Yeah, all good over here. I know it feels like a while since I've been on. I don't know, I can't even think when I was last on, so it's good to be back.
Good, and good to have you back. And also, just next there, we have got the mighty Great Wall of Andrew just here. Lovely to have you with us, sir. One of the few that made their way down to the Boreham Wood Meadow Park Stadium. It's very wet. He's only just dried his hair off. How are you getting on, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm all good. It's well worth the journey. Yeah, as I said, backstage, getting home at 2:10 in the morning. But yeah, it's great game. So I'm good to get through to the final.
Excellent stuff. And of course, we've got Becca back as well, which is a little bit of a tongue twister to say there. So hello, welcome. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Gutted to miss the match, but then actually looking at the direction of the wind coming in horizontally and the rain, I was actually quite glad to be at home. So yeah, happy to be here then.
Definitely did look a little bit on the dodgy side, that weather. So very glad not to have been anywhere near it at all. Apparently I've made an evil poll. It is in the chat as we speak. Much debate and discussion had backstage as we went through it. And then I just went all Donald Trump basically and put my foot down and said, this is what I'm doing. So there we go. We've got Fallon. We've got Elisabeth Terland. We've got Ellen Wangerheim, and we've got Hinata Miyazawa, and it's your choice as to which one of those 4 wins the player of the match poll. Now, of course, you might disagree with us. That's absolutely fine. That's what the channel was invented for. Just write your stuff in the comment. And if that person gets a ridiculous number of shouts, then obviously I am sure that Uncle Connor will sort it out. Speaking of Uncle Connor, he has just popped on. He's a little bit worried about you. Are you living on a hill? I think is what he's asking there. Very interesting.
I'm propped up on I'm just going to sound like a right nerd, a Lord of the Rings like trilogy book, and it's just a bit wonky because my desk, I don't have a proper desk. I'm on a dressing table and it's too low. So yeah, I am on a wonk. I can't take that.
Absolutely nothing wrong. Perhaps we could all do it in there you go. We just I'll just do that the rest of the thing, and people can wonder what's going on. So there we go. Sean, as bitter as ever about the fact that they didn't manage to make it through the group stage of the Sandwich Cup. Never mind, it's not for everybody. And indeed, Ashton Gate, what a place to go. So there we go. Evening. Lovely to have you all with us. And we are, of course, looking forward to talking about everything to do with the game. But Andrew, this one's not going to affect you at all, although it might have done a little bit. In fact, I will ask you first. You were at the game. How often did you need to wipe your specs?
I was going to say a good few times. It was on and off the rain, but let's say, yeah, managed to get through it. So, and say, us winning was making it much easier to bear the windy weather and the rain too. So yeah, it was all good.
Well, the reason I asked that is because that was, Becca and Beth, one of the worst games of football I've ever had to watch. Not because of the reasons that Sean's popped in on, as if he hadn't watched the 0-0 against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, which was definitely worse. That camera was ridiculous. Like, you wouldn't have got away with this in a men's game at all. They would have had that being cleaned off regularly. I don't know if there was just nobody watching in terms of backstage trying to make sure that happened, but my God, it was horrific every single time. Going back to the same out, they just didn't seem to care. Did you notice that? Because honestly, it was winding me right up. That was.
Yeah, it was beyond. For someone who has to wear glasses all the time, I genuinely felt like I didn't even have them on. I've not seen anything as bad as that since the early stages of the FA Cup last season. Not one of our games, I don't know who it was, but it was one of the weekends, probably the same weekend as we've just had, where some of the games you just couldn't. I didn't know where the ball was. I didn't know what was going on. I physically couldn't see anything, and I was just having to go off the commentary.
Yeah, same. I think when we first kicked off, there was a tiny smudge in the middle of the screen, and I thought, oh, this is going to get annoying if they don't fix this. And I thought when it cut away, they were going to wipe it. And then it came back, and then at one point, it was just the whole screen. And I was like, do I need to wipe my glasses? Realised I wasn't even wearing glasses. I was like, oh, no, this is actually what we're trying to figure out here. So, yeah, it just got progressively worse and a bit embarrassing, really.
It's a bit mad, isn't it? People having a go over here, but this is how you do it. You see, look, you have yourself a cloth, and you're very capable of wiping such thing. You see, there you go, fully HD now, baby. There we go. So that's it, job done. And of course, we always wonder how it is that your hair stays fully on end. So congratulations to you, sir. Right, let's talk about the proper stuff, the stuff that matters, because we did see it in the end. And of course, lots going on. First thing, first, got to talk about the team selection. So it seemed pretty reasonable to me, an obvious back five. In terms of Anna Sandberg being back in at the left back slot with Dominique Janssen sliding back in to the centre of defence. It was the double trouble of Hinny and Orange and Passion Fruit stuck in the back two just there, with Simi Awujo meant to be in that position just behind Elisabeth Terland. And then, of course, we had Ellen Rangerheim on the right. And it seemed as though Jess Park was on the left-hand side. So, Becca, we'll come to you first on this one. What did you make of the lineup, first of all? And what did you think when it seemed to be coming out about Jess Park being out on the left-hand side? Because it just shows, really, that she can play literally anywhere across that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as Jess Park is on the pitch, you could put her in goal and I'd still be happy with it. So, yeah, not too concerned about that. I was happy with the lineup. I thought it was strong. But I think the main thing I noticed was the bench, because it just looked like such a strong bench. And I was looking at that saying, okay, well, great, we can make changes. We can bring anyone on. And this is a good team, which I don't think we've had previously. We've had, you know, a big clash and put all our strongest 11 on. And then you're thinking, well, if something happens, sorry, I've got Moose clawing at me here. It was just nice to see such a strong bench. So, yeah, happy with it. You're on mute, Barry.
I am on mute, and thank you very much. I'm so busy looking at my notes as to what's going on there that I didn't bother to look to see whether anyone could hear me. So there we go. That's the first mistake of the evening. There'll be more, I'm sure. But she's quite right, isn't she, Andrew, Becca, there, that the bench was incredibly strong. We spoke about this on the last show that we did on Monday, and how it's strong as it is, but there's still more players still to come back onto it. But obviously, having the likes of Melvin Mallard on there, Lisa Nielsen, Millie Turner, Leah Schuller, of course, Hinny there. Hinny was there doing brilliantly. Who was I talking about there? I've lost it. Hannah, that's the one. Hannah Lundqvist. And of course, we had the two youth products as well. So lots of people that we could have brought on. Absolutely brilliant that we've got, number one, that depth, but number two, that we've been able to change the team around a bit and sort of refresh again this weekend.
Yeah, so that's something when the first half of the season was like, we need more squad depth, and now we've actually got it. So in terms of the starting 11, I thought Fallon and the back line, as I expected, it just who was going to be, you know, further forward, so that front three. So I thought would he have played Leah, but he decided to go with Terry instead. So, but United set up like a defensive shape. So Simi Awujo was added to the midfield of Hinny and Julia as well, and then you had, you know, Jess Park on the left, and then, you know, Ellen as well on the opposite, and then Terry going through the middle. So let's say I think Skinner set it up to be defensive because he knew what Arsenal were capable of, and it was pretty much mirrored the league game where Arsenal were just peppering us, and it was like, I think Skinner was setting up for a, if we can get that one moment to score, we'll use that, and then we can try and block them off, which we did expertly at. But yeah, so it was the front three, where he was going to go with it. But I was saying, when I saw it, I was happy with it. And then for what was to come off the bench, I thought, comparing it to Arsenal's bench, it was like, that was Arsenal's 11 that goes out in the league. So I was like, we've got a good chance if we have to chase or nick a goal. We've got that squad depth there now.
Absolutely, that. Remember to unmute there. Well done, Barry. Good stuff. So, Beth, same question for you, really, with regards to the lineup. Were you happy? There's lots of discussion about Ellen Vangerheim in the chat at the moment, and there has been across some parts of social media. But for me, I was delighted to see her given the 90 minutes, the opportunity to play. She's only going to get used to the league and everything that goes with it by playing. What did you make of the starting 11?
Yeah, I think like everyone's saying there, it was almost as standard as what we would expect. So it's good to start a new player. Players do take a while to bed in. So I think it's good to get them where we can get them in as soon as possible. And I think it was good that Simi had her opportunity after the previous game against Arsenal, which was really unfortunate. So I think bearing in mind that we do obviously have Villa at the weekend as well, it was really well, like a team we would actually, I guess it worked really well for that reason. Gave certain players rest, and having a full bench at this time of year in this part of the season is just when we needed it. I know we've obviously needed it previously as well, but the fact that we've now got that puts us in a better stead than we were, say, pre-Christmas.
No, I tend to agree entirely on that one there. When we think about the opening moments of the game, there was a cracking early save from Fallon Tullis-Joyce. Now, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head which end that was that the shot was at, so I don't know if that was right in front of you, Andrew, or if you had to peek over your rain-covered glasses.
I had to peek.
It was the other end?
Yeah, it was at the north bank, so it was the other end.
But there must have been a bit of panic at that point because the ball comes across. It's a good header, to be fair, but PTJ, she ain't mucking about there. Yeah. Straight down, turns it wide. And again, did you feel that maybe this was going to be one of those games, or did you feel that we would settle into it in the way that we did?
Yeah, I thought, please don't concede so early because we don't want to be on the back foot because, as I just said, we've set up in a defensive shape. I thought, well, if we've gone a goal down, then we're going to have to open up more, and that could result in, potentially Arsenal scoring more. But yeah, Arsenal carried on where they left off from the league match. Like, well, we're just going to attack, and, try and pepper us. But like I say, that United back line just held up firm again, like they did in the league match as well. So I was just like, it was a scary moment to start with, but then we just started to settle once we got our foot on the ball. But yeah, it was thanks to Fallon. She kept us in the game very early on.
She really did, and she makes a couple of good saves, Becca, throughout the game. Hence the reason why we've popped her on the player of the match poll. There was a brilliant one down low once United took the lead that was incredibly helpful, and again, just showing some really great ability for a big girl. I'm talking height, obviously here. She gets down really, really well.
Oh, she just is so good at her decision making of where she needs to be to get the ball. She's so commanding in the goal, and yeah, I've just got full faith in Fallon. No matter what kind of attack we've got coming our way, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's loads of people in a way, I've got my trust and my faith in her that she's gonna sort it out, and she does.
He really does. We've got the appearance of the dog again today. I love it. I love it when the animals come on. Is it a dog? No, it's not. It's a cat.
Yeah, crazy cat woman. I've got about 12. They'll just all pop up.
Love that. Beth, for you, Fallon Tullis-Joyce, she's been superb. I know that Connor was asking a question in the press conference beforehand about how well United have done. I think we kept 1 clean sheet in 10, but already since the turn of the year, 3 clean sheets, which is fantastic. And Fallon is obviously the orchestrator of all of that.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like what we were saying when we didn't have her and we were having to play Saf for a few weeks, that, you know, when you know your goalkeeper and you know your communication, you've got faith and trust in that goalkeeper, it makes you, as that back line, as that defence, or even just the 10 outfield players, it makes you feel more confident and just, yeah, I guess that really helps with it. And I think, obviously, it seems like once she can see properly because she's not wearing a mask, she's got a better chance of saving. But I sorry, I can't get my words out. Like Becca said, I also feel like that whenever you see that we've got to go into defence, I don't feel nervy. We just kind of know that we've got the best who can handle it. And I think you can't ask for more than that. You know, I don't think she is, let's face it, the best keeper in the league. So I just, I mean, you just can't argue with her.
I really don't think you can. And it's way too early. How quick are people jumping on these things at the minute? Come on now. This is absolutely crazy to be jumping in and saying bench by Rich. One game. It's one game. It's a very different game. I guarantee you she will be starting in another game that Terland doesn't. I would not be surprised if it's this weekend, if I'm brutally honest with you. The fact that Elisabeth Terland got the whole 90 minutes, I would imagine he's saving Leah Schiller. And again, you think back to the press conferences that have been had, and Martin very clearly points out that when we played Villa last time, it was after a Champions League games. We had a little bit of a hangover. He's going to want to use that strength in depth in order to be able to change it around. So, I mean, if she doesn't start against Villa, then by all means come back on Monday and start popping that sort of narrative out. But other than that, stop trolling, because I know that's what you're doing. But you did say an interesting question here, which is how long will you guys put Albert Skinner in big games besides the good job he has done? Now, he has done a good job, but I'd like to know what you thought about not just the first half, but how we've played against Arsenal in the last 3 games, because I said it at the very beginning, we haven't conceded a goal against them. And it does seem to me that Martin Skinner does try tactically to set up in a way that will negate the positives of the other side and then hopefully play to our own strengths as best as we can. And it doesn't always work for him, but you look at how this season's gone and the way in which we played so far, it's not too bad at all. It's not too bad at all. What do you think, Beth? Because it has been against Arsenal 3 games that haven't been the most enjoyable. We've not sat there and gone, oh, that's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure the coach journey home was absolutely bouncing because of the fact we've made a final and we've beaten Arsenal, which is always a delight. But they've not been the most entertaining. Are you happy with that? Were you happy with how we played in that first half?
The way I see it is, maybe I'm wrong in my opinion of this, but the way I see it is at almost any stage that we are as a club in our young age, shall we say, it's a transition, whichever way you look at it. You know, I know we are a big club, but we're a young club. So I think trying to work out what works best for the players that you've got in that time, you work with that anyway. But I struggle with this because I can sometimes understand when people are saying, why are we always being so defensive? However, it, for the most part, works in our favour. I know it might not be the most exciting game of football, but we get it over the line and we're into another final. That's 4 in 4 years. And I just think that, yes, you can say all these negative things, but when we're out there and we've been clinical, we've actually won the game. I just don't think there's as much to argue about. I get obviously nothing, like it wasn't perfect. And I get that, you know, we were very defensive, but you work with your strengths. And at the minute, not saying that anything against our front line, but our strength is our defence. So yeah, I don't want to say I don't see a problem in it, but I can just see that it's like a transitional thing where I don't want to say work on one thing at a time. However, I'd rather our defence be solid than us conceding 6 goals. I nearly said against Chelsea that felt like a bit too much PTSD. However, you knew what I meant.
I think you're right. I mean, Becca, you look at the stats and you can see people already talking about the possession. And, you know, by the end of the game, Arsenal had obviously had 21 shots. But I think only 3 of which were actually on target. We've had 6. on 6 shots, 4 on target. We've had 8 blocks against them. So the defence really standing up to the test. 3 saves from both goalkeeper. What did you make of that first half, especially? Because I can't say I came away from that thinking anything terrible. We say this is Manchester United, but this is Manchester United also managed to get bopped 6-0 by Chelsea at the end of the season. This is the defensive side of things. You've got to, if you can keep that clean sheet, you only need 1 goal, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it was a close call, as in we were just passing the ball around in the centre circle, just losing possession. We were defending for a big chunk of it. Same as the league game, we were fighting for it. So we did well, we performed well. So I didn't come out of it negatively, because we obviously got the win from that. And obviously we got the win in the league, being 10 players. Oh, sorry, no. We got the draw in the league, got the point, being a player down. So, yeah, no, I'm happy with it. My only thing is I wish we would challenge them a bit more. I know Skinner said that he was really happy with our defence, as we all were, but wanted more of attack. I would like to see us challenge Arsenal a bit more and come at them a bit more. I think we played Chelsea better than we played Arsenal, and come at them a bit more. And I remember, I don't know if it was you or Connor that said the other week, why can't we beat these top 3 things? But why can't they beat us? Like, they're not getting points together against us. They're not scoring against us. So we're challenging them. We're making a name for ourselves. Like Beth says, we're still a young team and we're established in that top 4. So, yeah, why can't they beat us?
No, absolutely that. It's interesting. We're getting, too much respect for this poor Arsenal team. Again, the champions of Europe. It blows my mind how we talk about this group of players. But there we go. Andrew, for you were there. Talk to me about I would say the word on the street, but that's not quite where you were, although it's very close to the street where you are. But what were the fans saying behind the goal? Because I know some of them, obviously, having stood with them for games in the terraces. I can't imagine they're that disappointed. But then, having said that, we won. Had we not won, would you have expected that then this would have been a bit more of a negative one? We never attack, we never do this. Is this one of those where we are balanced on a knife edge, that if we play that way and win, it's easy for us to sit there and go, yeah, shut up, what are you talking about? But when we lose, we then start moaning about the fact that we haven't had any chances.
Yeah, so if we'd lost, then you'd analyse it and go, well, we should have done this, we should have done that. But then you think, when big sides meet in the big matches, they don't always necessarily produce a classic match, and that was the case in the semi-final. So let's say you could say it was a bit of a textbook smash and grab from United. Resilient, disciplined, and just ruthless in that moment when we needed to score. So, and we spent a lot of time under pressure from the first half, and then especially more in the second half. So we only reduced Arsenal to like 3 shots on target. So it was like, I think they had 21 shots overall. So let's say they had like the control of the ball, and there was finding space. But United were, we were just largely restricted to the moments in transition. So despite the imbalance in territory and chances, we was defending superbly as well. So it wasn't pretty, but it was effective. So we had our backs to the wall and we was weathering the storm. So I'm going to use a line from one of our former United managers. Say we had to suffer a little bit, but we were ruthless in those, that key moment, and we just showed that elite mentality. So it was a case of control versus conviction, and United probably had more of the conviction. So just Arsenal just could not break us down. So, and you can see that from when we go back to the league match. So we had a player sent off, and then in the semi-final they had their player sent off. So, but yeah, we took, when we got our moment, we took it. So, but yeah, if we hadn't won, we would have been very disappointed and trying to think out where. But it's if, buts and maybes. That's the way it was set up. So, and that's the way Skinner decided. So that was his decision making at the time.
I think I tend to agree. Becky saying, if we go out and play like that on Sunday, I'll be annoyed, but getting a win in the semi-final away to Arsenal, defending the way we did, I'm happy. And I'll put it out there again, 270 minutes, and they did not score a goal. So there we go. Oh, he's on there. Didn't mean to pick him. Right. Can we stop with this? This is absolute. Everybody knows that in bad weather, the red arrows don't fly. Like, what's that all about? It's pathetic. They wouldn't have been allowed. Crash. I mean that. Right. Elisabeth Terland. She's in the penalty area. Katie McCabe. Becca, penalty or not penalty?
Penalty. She didn't win the ball. She just came flying at her. For me, it was a penalty. If Terry had stayed up, she had a good chance. So why would she throw herself down when she could have kept going? I don't know.
Beth, is that how you were feeling about it?
Oh, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think it was. I thought, yeah. Obviously, they played it quite a bit on Sky Sports, so I was rewatching it, and I just couldn't see how it was. I felt like if the shoe was on the other foot and it was one of our players against, our opposing team, we would totally be saying it's not. So I didn't see enough. Sorry, my brain's just gone. Like, connection with it. So yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't think it was.
I'll be clear. The chat. I've not seen one yet that agrees with you, but I watched it, Andrew. I did, and my first thought was, that looks a little bit soft. Like, she does go across, and that's the reason why you think it might have gone. But I don't know. It's just like she wasn't very Katie McCabe. Let's put it that way. Usually she's full-blooded, but this was like Katie McCabe. I don't know, after a lot of, I don't know, stuff to calm her down, because she did not seem to go through as hard as she would do. But she's clearly not playing the ball. She clearly isn't trying to do anything. And as Becca says, why on earth would an experienced striker like Elisabeth Terland, who is in dire need of goals, go down when you're going to be one-on-one with the goalkeeper and with an opportunity to score? So what was the again, word on the street? When you saw it, I should imagine you were shouting and clicking your fingers and stamping your feet.
Yeah, we were all shouting it was a penalty, and I'm just like, because when Terland got back up off the floor, she was like looking at the referee as if to say, why have you not given that? And like, so just maybe the referee thought it was, like you said, soft, but then in another game that's given him, like, but then we'd have been annoyed if that had gone against us, and we would say, well, so it's a bit of swings and roundabouts, but we say we wanted the penalty because we want to get the advantage ourselves. So yeah, we were a little bit surprised, but then the referee was surprisingly, being trigger happy with their cards as well. So it was just like, well, against us, and was like, we thought we're fighting against Arsenal, maybe a bit of the referee too as well. So, but yeah, we all thought it was a penalty at the time.
Can I just say as well, because I saw a comment that reminded me, because there was a shot of McCabe shouting, like bending over Terry, shouting something, and I can't get on the McCabe hype. Like, maybe if she played for United, I would understand it all, but I don't get the whole McCabe thing. And it just looked really mean, and I didn't like it because Terry seems like such a sweet person. I was like, oh, stop it with this big bravado. Like, when she gets smacked in the face and then refuses to get seen by a medic, I'm like, oh, just, can we not? So I didn't like her shouting at Terry. So I was
going to say, and it was funny after the game because we were still there cheering on, and then as they started meeting, some of the Arsenal players, and McCabe was coming across from where we were and was clapping us, and I was like, why? It's a bit weird to be doing that, but I was like, I don't know, but I say she was paying for us. You'd take that, but I don't know, it's just a bit weird behaviour.
It was a bit weird behaviour, and I think deep down I'm with you. What made me giggle the most was the commentators, because at the very beginning when it happened, they were all like, "That's a penalty. I don't know. That's not been given as a penalty." And then at half time, they went, "The more you look at it, the less like a penalty it is." And I'm just like, "No, stick to your guns. Either it is or it ain't." You can't just be sitting there and talking yourself out of it. But there we go. Let's talk about the goal, because the goal was, for me, one of the reasons why I had to put Ellen Wangerheim into the player of the match poll. And I feel like she actually had an all right game. I'm not sure what everybody's seeing that they think is quite so poor in that respect, because she was getting herself about. She's getting used to a brand new league. She was going forwards and backwards. She was defending a lot. We all remember back to when we were looking at Jays, and she was like, "Oh, that's the halfway line. I don't go past that. I stay here. I'm a forward." And I think actually to see someone like Ellen Wangerheim come in and do that was great. But the goal itself starts because of her. The throw-in is taken. She wins the header. There's a little bit of hustle and bustle in the middle. And then as they kick the ball, she's the one who intercepts it. And by intercept, what I mean is get smacked in the head. And the ball goes flying off towards Kadina. Kadina gets the ball. Back pass to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper is then cut off by Elisabeth Terland, who's decided, I'll stand here, you're not going to pass this way. She turns the other way and then makes the inexplicable decision to try a short pass with two Manchester United players around Caldente. Silly idea, because who does the interception? That's right, it's Ellen Wangerheim. She's in there getting herself about, getting busy. Fair play. Caldente does manage to get in front of her, but all she manages to do is to knock the ball into the path of Elisabeth Terland, who then nutmegs the defender, puts it in at the near post. Manchester United ahead, and indeed, wang, bang, goal. Perfect timing, puzzling time. Love that. Andrew, just how loud was it? Because I've been there when we scored a goal at Meadow Park, 1-0. The 1-0 win against Arsenal at Meadow Park was the first time I met these guys. And it was also the time when Charlie turned into a turtle and jumped onto Connor's back. It was a crazy moment. Of course it was. Alessia Russo who scored that back when she knew how to score goals. And it's amazing. So I should imagine there was some scenes.
There was, and it's funny you say that. Connor, because we literally just get into half time, I think it was just a couple of minutes before Connor decided to go to the toilet and missed the goal. So he wasn't there to see it, unfortunately. But yeah, it was just, so Wangerheim's pressing helped, our attack really well. It was her pressure that led to the turnover. So, and, put Terry through on goal. So it was composed take and finish from Terland. So probably an encouraging display from Terland as well. Say she weren't going to get much chances, and though you could argue our defensive approach was frustrating at times, it made more sense with the lead we was going into at half time. So, but I'll say on Wangerheim, she was really good, even though she did have a moment. She had a moment before we scored and she was getting through, and it was like, it's almost like time slowed down, and then for some reason she didn't follow the ball into the box and get a shot away. And I was like, let's say, was that our key moment then to get ahead? But we had that moment with Terland. But for Wangerheim, she defensively, she was good as well. I think she made like 7 defensive contributions during the match, so which we needed her for. So all the players needed to defend very well. But yeah, it was literally jumping up and down when Terland scored. It was like, and just right before half time, it was just good to go into the league and into the lead, and so gave Arsenal something to think about. But yeah, definitely seemed that.
No, absolutely. And Beth, for you, I think we've been talking a lot about taking chances. Again, only 6 shots, 4 of which were on target. That one going in, absolutely massive. And although it may not have come from too much interplay around the box as such, it just goes to show what we're good at, which is closing down these defences, making them make mistakes, pouncing and taking advantage of that. And I saw somebody saying you can't win the league playing like this. I think you bloody can.
Yeah, you definitely can. I think the way the league's going, that just football in general, that, everyone's trying to get goalkeepers to play out more from the back, which wasn't something that was done a long time ago. And I think we just need to see that a bit more from Terry. Like, obviously, she's done it quite a bit, the biggest one to me was when we beat City last season. She was really pressing Keating that day. And I think we need to always see more of that, which will then create more clinical goals. Because at that point, as a defender or a goalkeeper, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And you can't really move the right way if it's going to create space like that. So I think being able to see Terry do that with such confidence is something that we need to see more from our strikers, because it really just, it is an unforced, well, no, sorry, it's a forced error in that sense, but it's something then that we can work from to get those goals. So it was really good to see that she was able to do that. And yeah, I think it's more of that pressing that we're missing. I think that as much as we've said we haven't been as clinical this season, I wonder if that's almost part of it, because we've tried every other way, but we've not done as much of the pressing to such an extent. And I think that would make such a difference in the league this season.
I think so. Becca, for you, I think, again, we've spoken a lot about Elisabeth Terland, and Her Majesty was superb at the start of the season. She really was. She was scoring goals and goals and goals in Europe, and everybody seemed to think that this was going to be her season, that maybe she'd be a 20-goal a season striker for us from that one. A bit of a stall, it would be fair to say, but could this be the one that gets her back into it? We were just talking about the fact that Leah Schuller may well start against Aston Villa. Is that kind of what she's needed? Is Leah Schuller coming in almost like the kick up the backside that you're going to have to start taking your chances, because if you don't, there is a recognised, incredibly good international striker here who will absolutely take your place.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the positive in getting these, or additional positive of getting these signings of Schuller, even Van Heem, that it has just been Mel and Terry just rotating, having them both on. So now there is competition in that role you've got to perform. When she scored, I was so happy that it was her specifically, not that just that we got the goal, but that it was Terry, because I feel like she was due a goal, she needed it. But not only that she got a goal, but it was an important goal. It was a match-winning goal. It was a semi-final winning goal. So it was a huge moment. And I was so glad it came down to Terry. It was an impressive goal as well, to have to turn the way she did, get through Lotte Wubben-Moy, past the goalkeeper. It was precision. It was clinical. It was lovely. So, yeah, I hope we see more of a spark in Terry now. But I will say, with Terry, I sometimes find that she can be a player that sits and waits for the ball to come to her, and she's just kind of hovering around like the other half, waiting for the ball. But in the past few matches, she has been pressing. She's putting the pressure on. So even if she's not actually touching the ball or getting anywhere, she is applying that pressure. And that's what I want to keep seeing. As long as she's doing that, then she's, playing a part somehow. But yeah, no, I was glad that she got the goal.
Yeah, I think we were all glad to see that she did manage to do that. And the second half, I mean, for me, didn't offer too much, really. United were always going to try and sit back and defend the lead where they could, and just look to try and take any bits and pieces that were offered. We did have a couple of good opportunities. Melvin Mallard and Jess Park both putting one over the bar. Jess Park also drawing a save out from the goalkeeper. But apart from that one from Park, I don't really think of too many chances that the goalie had to do too much with. Beth, for you, we'll obviously get to the Olivia Smith moment in a second. Well, actually, no, we can do that now. Did you think that they were both yellow cards and that should have been a red? And what did you make of the way the second half was played? Because obviously before that they've got 11 players, they're now down to 10. Do you think we should have looked to push a bit more, or do you think that actually it was all right for us to say, do you know what, they've got 10 now, we can let them wear themselves out and hopefully take the win?
There's a lot there, really. Sorry, I was thinking which way to answer your questions then. You threw a lot at me then. So with Smith, I've rewatched the first one because I think I was cooking at the same time, so I think I kind of missed it when it was live. I've rewatched it and I can see how it's a yellow, but it felt like a soft yellow. The second one was easily a yellow. It was reckless. It was stupid. And also her reaction for then getting the red card as if she hadn't even done anything wrong was just beyond. But, you know, I guess like some of it's like playing up for the fans in a way, you know, like, let's face it, they were quite vocal on Wednesday. I think that we should have capitalised on it. You know, because it felt like they hadn't made much of a change once Smith had gone off, and it felt like we just weren't pressing where we could. You know, they were a player down, and we still felt like I felt like we were still defending a bit too much in that sense. But I think the thing to remember as well is that there are quite a lot of teams, and this goes in any forms of football, that when you go down to 10 players as the team that's lost the player, first of all, sometimes you feel a bit more like resilience to try and make it as a team to not concede. But I also think that sometimes being the opposing team that is now a player up, you almost feel like the pressure to keep pressing forward. If you press forward too much, then you're not gonna. Your defense isn't going to be there. So I can see why we did it, but I do think we still should have been able to press further forward and take capitalize on those options.
I mean, it seems reasonable to me. Becca, for you, was it a red card? I mean, we look at the previous game against Arsenal. Jay Riviere sent off for 2 tackles, both of which I probably couldn't really argue against. It's exactly the same for Arsenal here, isn't it? They were both yellow cards, and as we know very well, 2 lemons equal a strawberry.
Yeah, definitely red for me. The second was definitely yellow. Whether or not the first was a soft yellow or not, when you're on a yellow, you play with caution. It's not like she's a defender making a last-ditch effort to try and stop an attacker coming towards a goal. She was an attacker in our third. There was no reason. It was purely reactionary against Sigiotti after being fouled by her just minutes before. She should have known better, and it was a red and rightfully gone off.
And for you, for the second half, were you content with how we managed to play? I mean, at the end of the day, we got the win. You said earlier that, you know, you're quite happy for us to play like that in a way if it means we're going to win. But was there anything you would have liked to have seen different? Because Beth, as you hear there, says, yeah, maybe we should have tried to capitalise on it a bit more. But do you think that's a bit of a dangerous tactic when you're only 1-0 up, because it only takes one moment of madness or a sloppy pass or that sort of thing to happen, and then all of a sudden Arsenal make it 1-1, and then it becomes a much more tense fixture?
Yeah, I agree. I think the way we've been playing up until that point, you'd think then losing a player, we would then be able to kind of build some improvement. I think we did improve. I think we held possession a lot better. I think we calmed things down in a lot of moments. We had some lovely balls. Hannah had a great run up the wing, which I'm really glad United posted as like a highlight, because it was really impressive. So I think we did have moments where we improved, but there were still some nervy moments up until the whistle that I thought they can quite easily come back here and get a goal. So yeah, I think we could have been better, but we did see some improvements, I think.
No, absolutely. I think I tend to agree with what you're saying there as well. Some people saying that maybe even the second game itself could have just been a straight red. It was late. It was reckless. She was, it seems, retaliating to something that happened earlier, Andrew. We heard a lot of the Arsenal fans, and we will get to them in a moment, but a lot of them giving it the off cries. I'll be honest, when they then sent her off, I was like, well, kept asking for it. Now you've got one. There you go. So what did you make of it when you were watching that there? And also, again, as you're there at the ground, how content with how Skinner's dealt with that? You know, he made 5 substitutions. He did bring off Anna Sandberg, who was on a yellow. He did bring off Ziggy as well, who was on a yellow card. Content, reasonable. Do you think we played well enough? I think we deserved the win in the end.
I was going to say we were under near constant pressure, especially the second half, but we still remained disciplined, even though we were did commit more fouls and we picked up like 5 yellow cards. So it was like the referee was bringing those cards out a few times. I was like, I thought, just remain disciplined, don't get sent off. And then it was Elisabeth Smith that ended up getting the red card. Cause when she went in on Ziggy Ossie and then the referee went over, I was like, I forgot for a second she'd already been buttoned, and then somebody, she's off, and then was like, and she's like, looking ref, why are you sending me? I thought it's a very short walk back to the dressing room for you. So, but she said it's, I think because Ziggy Ossie had put one on her, she was like, oh, I'll show you, I'm still here, and I'm going to put one back on you, but a bit reckless and forgot, and you was already on a yellow card. But I can see, let's say the red card was the turning point statistically and psychologically. It's like, oh, you thought we were down to 10 players because Arsenal just kept putting the pressure on us, but our defensive shape just became stronger. We shortened the distances, the lines became tighter, and Arsenal were just limited in what they could do. They couldn't, get that one perfect shot and get it into the goal. So it was just like, I think the defensive numbers really told the story of the game as well. And I just think Skinner made the right calls in terms of the substitution, because those players that had been booked. So it was like there was running a risk that if they went in again, the referee's going to pull out either a second yellow card or a straight red. So we could have been the ones down to 10 players. But we did have our other moment where Melvin Mallard was through, and I thought, oh, this is it, game, set, and match. We're going to score. But unfortunately, she skied it high, and was then back under pressure again. But I think Fallon had to make one big save, and that was it. And then seeing it out. But yeah, the defensive numbers, the second half told the story for us.
I think I tend to agree, and we have got to talk about the Arsenal fans, because it felt like quite a good atmosphere, to be fair. I've been, as I say, to Meadow Park a few times, and I can remember there was just like 12 men and a dog shouting out at the back of the stands, the same old Arsenal, 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 and that was it. And honestly, it was enough to put you to sleep. They've got a few more songs now. I'll be honest, the Leslie Russo chant, I think, needs some work. I think if this was on the Britain's Got Talent, they'd have definitely had the 3 X's and they'd have been booed off the stage. I think with that one, it is potentially the worst chant I think I've ever heard in my life. And that is quite a statement, because I've been alive for 43 years. So you'd think I'd have heard worse, but I haven't. So there's that one. But they are a bit moody. They're a bit moody, which is no surprise. They're moody that she got sent off, old Olivia Smith there, whilst forgetting the fact that they were the only 2 yellow cards that they got. We got 5. We had a player sent off last time who only made 2 tackles and got sent off for both of them. Andrew, just tell us a little bit about what the atmosphere was like whilst you were out there.
I was going to say, because looking back on the highlights, I think they put the microphones down the Arsenal, because I thought, I can't hear much of us, but we were still there, and we were trying to work out what us. Obviously, they were reminding us that they're the champions of Europe, but we're saying, well, we've just beaten you anyway. So, but yeah, we were just singing there throughout as well. And so I think, because in our end, because it wasn't segregated, we had Arsenal fans in with us. And I think half time, Dad and his daughter came, Dad and daughter, they were Arsenal fans, and they were giving banter to us. And we thought, fair play, you're giving it to us as well. So, but yeah, so couldn't really hear them much from our end, because we was making that much noise, and obviously when we scored too. But yeah, so as you said, almost when they got one word, and that's Arsenal, and I'm like, might have a few more songs, but you couldn't really hear them. So watching it back, I was just like, could have put the microphone on us, because we were making more noise than they were, I believe. But yeah, it was a good atmosphere.
But I will say you were stood there, so obviously the people around you will sound louder.
Yeah.
I do think on the telly, I think I may have heard more of them, because there were more of them. Maybe that's where they strategically placed the microphones. I don't know. I've also, and I know this is a Manchester United channel, and this may well just end any credibility I've got whatsoever, but I don't mind this song. I don't know if it's because I'm literally 20 minutes away from the place, so maybe I'm more emotionally attached to having been around that area. I don't mind it, I don't think it's any worse than country roads in some respects, I don't know that I hate it. But Becca, I have to ask you this because does anyone remember? Let's just travel back in time to a young lady who decided to follow her dreams and leave the club that she grew up supporting and really, really loved in order to win lots and lots of trophies and yes, become a European champion. And as she made that decision, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. Fair play. That's an Arsenal fan saying they don't like it. I don't mind it. But that's the beauty. We're allowed to disagree. It's not a problem. We all like the place. It's love. Can we say you can? I mean, I can disappear, but it does mean that one of these three will have to take over. And I'm sure they could do it. But I don't know if they got any questions because they thought they'd be answering them. But yeah, she went over to Arsenal, obviously. And I vividly remember Arsenal fans getting a little bit upset at us booing whenever she got the ball. Having said that, though, they've added a little bit of profanity to theirs because now when the goalkeepers are kicking the ball, you don't just say, oh, and then try and scare them. They're actually swearing at the goalkeepers now. It's outrageous behaviour, I feel, not necessarily what they should preach. Are we not just in a situation where we should just accept that actually rivalries are starting to build up and maybe, just maybe, that's good for the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I stand on this one because, yes, it's fun and I love a rivalry and all this, but it's just getting beyond. They're doing it with everyone, but I just find it ridiculous when you're doing it to tullis-joyce because how can you say that to a keeper who is miles better than both your keepers that you've got? Not saying that if you're bad, it's okay, but I just don't understand how you can say it against someone who literally doesn't let goals in. That I just find beyond. And I find it weird because it's always, this is throughout every game, it's always after the keeper's kicks the ball. It's never when they actually, when they've got the ball and they're, preparing themselves and they're like, it's always after they've kicked it. Are they all there going, ooh, ooh, look at us? Because I just don't understand it. I just think it's like child's play. It's so bizarre. And I just find it embarrassing. But, I mean, I could say a lot more. I'm trying to hold back. And yeah.
Excellent stuff. Glad you're enjoying it, Kuchi. That's what I'm here for. Just for the lulls, really, because it's certainly not for the good looks. Becca, talk to us a little bit about how you feel, because I think, and Becky's quite right here, it's good. We're getting a little bit of a rivalry. We're getting a little bit of that bite, and that's what it needs, because that's where these stories come from, right?
I love a bit of rivalry, and I love how this season's going. You've got alcohol in the stands, you've got swearing, it's all kicking off. It's it's not kids club anymore. So I'm all for it. I think people do take it a bit too far, but no, I'm for it. I actually, when I got into the women's game, I was United because of geographic reasons, but I'd got in from the Lionesses. So I thought, do we go up down the Arsenal route like everyone else in the population did? So I kind of secretly had a soft spot for them and wanted them to kind of do next best. But then the Arsenal fans just turned me, and I was like, no, I don't want to see anything come of them. So I'm here for the rivalry. Yeah. Absolutely.
That Becky firing shots as well over here. It's all over apps, apparently. There we go. That's quite good. I like that. It's made me giggle. Well done. So we're going to be ending the poll in just a few moments. So that's the player of the match poll, obviously, because there isn't another one out there. So we're going to run around you three and work out who you would have picked. So, Andrew, who would you have picked as your player of the match? Was it one of the four on the player of the match list, or did you pick somebody else?
I'm going to go with Parlam because, without her in goal, okay, we got a back line and protecting her as well, but she did pull off the saves as well. So if she wasn't in there, we could have been easily 1 or 2 down. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with Fallon for that, my player of the match.
Okay, so the Great Wall of Andrew has gone for the Great Wall of Fallon, which is superb. Beth?
Sorry, I couldn't press the button then. So I'd go for Terry. I think obviously without her, we wouldn't have had the goal, and for her to be able to press that's the moment that changed the game, basically, in the sense of the actual. Yeah, I know obviously there were other moments, but without Terry, we wouldn't necessarily have won that game.
Oh, I wasn't muted. I thought to myself, I've muted, and I'm currently trying to close the poll. So if I'd start speaking, someone's going, you're muted, and I wasn't. That's mistake number 2. There we go. Becca, who would you have chosen? We've got Terry. It's the first time I've really called her that. Andrew has gone for Fallon. Where are you going?
I'm going to go Terry because I thought it was a great goal. We took opportunity where we had it. It wasn't an easy goal. So, yeah, going to go Terry.
Lovely stuff. Well, the poll has ended, and I have got my numbers correct, so all is well there. And I can confirm that in 4th place, it was Ellen Rangerheim, but she got 9% of the votes. And I'm pleased about that. That's not just people saying, you know, oh, it's not Connor on his alternate account, just making sure everybody got a vote. So that is good. In 3rd place, Nata Miyazawa with 20%. Elisabeth Terland, Her Majesty, is the runner-up, though, with 30% of the public vote. And winning and through to boot camp is Fallon Tullis-Joyce with 41%. That is a tight player in a match poll. But there we go. The goalkeeper with 2 fantastic saves. And again, orchestrating that magnificent defence that did, I think, incredibly well. It's not quite the end of the story just yet. We are going to, because as you can see, got another game coming up in just a couple of days' time, Sunday afternoon. Well, not quite afternoon, is it? It's 11:55, which is a bloody stupid time to start a football match. But there we go. We shall be facing Aston Villa. Beth, talk to us about this one. We suffered a horrible result the last time we played Aston Villa. Do you feel that this time it will be a little bit better? We don't quite have the issues that we had post Champions League last time. We're now in a situation where we can play with a little bit more, a few more players. Surely we're going to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go, oh yes, I'm really confident, but I feel a lot more confident than I did. Watching that game was one of the worst moments of the year for me. So I don't want to relive that, seeing as I will actually be at the game. So it'd be beneficial if we didn't. But I think obviously we've brought players in, we've got Fallon back. We're just going to be, I know we keep saying about the defence and how great it is, and, you know, maybe we're playing too defensively, but I think going in attack as well against Villa, that are a good team this season, but haven't found consistency. I think it can only play in our favour. So, yeah, I mean, I can't see us losing. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I just think that, yeah, we've got more consistency than they've got, and we've got, even though we've never been able to say it before, we've got more squad depth than they have. So I can only see it playing in our favour.
I think you might be right. Have you got a score?
I want to say, I don't want us to concede, obviously. I'm like, in my head, I'm going 2-0 or 3-1. I'm gonna, because they've not actually scored that much recently, I'm gonna say 2-0.
There you go. Kevin has gone the same as you. Becca, for you, whatever happens, it's going to be an amazing game, I think. But surely now with some of these front options that we've got, it must be. It's got to be a time to win.
Yeah, it can't be like the repeat of the last game. I'm putting that as what I call the great November depression, that we just had a terrible run and they caught us at a bad time. So we've got new signings. We're going to go in. We're playing really strongly, especially defensively. And then we've got these great attackers come in. 4-0. I'm going for it. We did that Aston Villa away. We got it.
Have you got a score?
4-0.
4-0.
Yeah.
Scoring. Who's scoring 4?
Sheila Brace and a Mel and a Ziggy second goal.
Nice. Like that, we've got a 3-1 here from Becky with Schiller and Park scoring. Kevin Duff going 2-0. He's going for Elisabeth Terland. Jess Park clearly looking promising there. We've got 3-0 United over here. I think we're looking pretty good in terms of that one. Andrew, for you?
I was going to say, yeah, get my words out. The last match, it was against them, was so frustrating. We could have been there forever trying to score against them. We just had a hangover that game. It was just like we were trying everything and nothing was going to work. But hopefully this time around, away at Villa Park, getting the goals and the 3 points. I say we've got much stronger attack and steadier defence than they have as well. So I'm saying Villa are a bit inconsistent with their results recently. So yeah, hopefully going there and nicking all 3 points from them, taking them back to Manchester. I'm going to say, I think I put in the predictions there. I went 2-0 United. So I'm going to go scorer wise. Jess Park. I'm going to go Melvin Mallard. I'll say she's going to get on the score sheet as well.
I really hope she does. She must be due one now. I'm a big fan of how this has landed. Say to her all the time now. She'll never forgive me for this. But there we go. Yes, and this is a big possibility with Chelsea playing Arsenal as well at the weekend. It's every chance that Chelsea do take 3, if not 2, points off of Arsenal. And therefore, it does mean that there is the opportunity to fight back, which could be great. So very interesting to see what happens there. I know it's already been sorted in the chat, but no, she's not. That suspension was served against Burnley. This is amazing, though. Scrap my 2-0 prediction. Turner gets a hat-trick. Schiller scores a few. Melvin scores. Vangerheim scores her first. 9-0. Now, I know we beat them somewhat stupid like 11-0 before, but if we win this game 9-0, Brandon, I will not only put you into the prediction league, you can win it, because that is wow. That happened, I'm going to be very impressed. So there we go. I think it would be fan-dabby-dozy. We're in the realm of dreams now. I love it. Fallon Tullis-Joyce bicycle kick in the 94th minute. That's the sort of stuff we want to see. Absolutely love it. Right. I think for the most part, we have covered everything we need to cover. I suppose that the last thing potentially to talk about would be the final. We are going to have to play Chelsea. It's really annoying. We've got, FA Cup. How have I forgotten that? FA Cup draw that we had as well against Chelsea. You guys, one of you was on the conversation that we had on Monday, but we've got Chelsea in the FA Cup. We've now got Chelsea in the League Cup final. We've still got to play them again in the league. We've basically replaced Manchester City, and we're going to have the quadruple of matches. It didn't go City's way last time. How are we feeling about this as a final? Because Chelsea haven't been firing on all cylinders. We've made our first final in the Sandwich Cup. Can we go on and win the whole thing? Becca.
Yes. Next question.
Yes, next. I love it. Just, straight up. Yes, absolutely.
No, do you know what? I don't mind getting Chelsea because you've got to beat the best to win the best. No, beat the best to be the best. My issue is with the location of the matches that I have to travel because they're all down at Stamford Bridge, down at Bristol, down at Kings Meadow, wherever it is. So that's my only thing. But for the League Cup, I think I would have chosen Chelsea over City. Like you say, they've not been firing on all cylinders. They've got weaknesses. I think we can beat. So yeah, we can do it. Easy.
Well, I love that. I do. Beth, for you, is this something that you're looking forward to? We've had 4 games it will be by the end of the season. We were in a situation where we'd only beaten them once. Could we double that this season?
Yeah, I honestly think we could, because I had their game, the Chelsea City game, on my iPad at the same time as our game. And as much as they won, their defence was terrible. So I honestly can see us winning. I want to say at least one of them, but I would love to say both. Like you said, they've not been firing on all cylinders. Their squad's gone a bit weird, I think. I think they've almost had too many players, and there's been quite a few already go on loan this season. And I just think there's not the cohesion there. So I think that, again, would play in our favour. For me, as I said, I can't get my words out. As I said before we went live, it's actually great for me because it's only an hour away from me. Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be no problem. Not no problem. That's really poor wording. But I'm feeling optimistic more than I did when it came to the FA Cup final last season.
Again, I think entirely fair with what you're saying there. I mean, it's been a very good season for Manchester United so far. And from what I can recall, only the 2 defeats. We had the silly little European Champions League half-time, effectively, defeat. And the only other game we lost was, I believe, against Manchester. Oh, apart from Villa, sorry. I keep trying to forget that, but it doesn't matter how often I try and forget it. It's still bloody there. And, of course, there's Manchester City as well. But, I mean, just trying to point it out here, Mr. Criminal, I don't recall losing to Chelsea yet this season. 1-1. What do you reckon, Andrew? A draw there. What's the next 3 games got in store? Can we get past them in the FA Cup? Can we get past them in the League Cup? And can we do anything against them in the league?
I was going to say, Chelsea like to forget that we beat them in a cup competition when they put that post out the other day about only 2 games against United in the cups that we both won. But you forgetting something, the FA Cup semi-final where we beat you? Just like, yeah, history doesn't lie. So, but I think we can take the game to them. I think Skinner said after Wednesday, said, yeah, we're in the final, of course, it's Chelsea, but we're going to go there and give it our absolute all. So look back to the league game, say they went ahead, but we got back into it. And we felt after the league game back in October, we should have gone and won that game. So Chelsea we can get at them. So just to say we got in the space of 3 weeks, we got the FA Cup game, the break, and then we're facing them again. So to say if we can win the FA Cup game against them, that hopefully that gives them a psychological blow on them, and then we can, go into that final with a lot of confidence, and let's bring the trophy home to Manchester.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And Valentine saying, I respect Chelsea. They win, and they win when they're not playing well. Unless, of course, that team is Everton. So there we go. Right. What a lovely, lovely evening it's been. Beth, thank you very much for your time today. Lovely to have you back on the channel. Andrew, of course, brilliant to have you here as well. Thank you for joining us. And Becca, 2 times in 1 week. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I just compliment you on that shirt. It's absolutely wonderful.
Vintage special. It's a genuine.
Love it.
Probably.
So there we go. Although the long sleeved ones, I don't tend to see those too often, the old long sleeve shirts.
No, I'm a fan of the long sleeves. Some of them, yeah.
Fair play. I've never liked them. Always roll them up me. But there we go. Love it. There we go. Superb stuff. It's been a pleasure. Really have enjoyed having all of you in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We will be back as ever on Monday evening, hopefully with Charlie back as normal on a Monday night as well. It's going to be fantastic if we win. If we don't win, then we can all come back here and cry into our evening cocoa together. But that's not going to happen. Why? Haven't you heard? We've got big bangers. She's going to score. We've got Leah Schuller. She knows how to head the ball in the net. Elisabeth Terland, Her Majesty, if you don't mind, is scoring goals for fun again. Jess Park, Melvie Mallard. We're going to win 9-0. Brandon said so. So we'll see you Monday for yet another All United WFC. Until then, have a great weekend. See you soon.